joined Toastmasters in the year 2012 when I was already 63 years of age. As you would expect, by that time I was already well accomplished professionally. But not only that, I was already a public speaker, addressing sometimes audiences that number thousands. Indeed, I had spoken across 3 continents. And then came this friend of ours, a trusted, persuasive lady, a family friend, who spoke about Toastmasters as a place where I could further hone my public speaking skills as well as my leadership skills. Being who she is, we went along and visited a meeting of Toastmasters. This was on the occasion of the change of guard of the Surulere Club. It was my experience at that meeting that clinched it for me. I saw Toastmasters speaking like highly accomplished actors in a theater. Honestly, I thought that I was watching a movie. I had to ask myself, will I also be able to speak as eloquently as this? And at that moment, I realized that Toastmasters is the path that will distinguish the great from the good. And for me, the rest is history. I became a Toastmaster not too long after that. And if I'm to compare what public speaking is to me now as a Toastmaster to what it was before I became a Toastmaster, as I have often said, it is indeed like comparing day with night.
So the first club meeting I attended was that of Unity Toastmasters Club. I say this all the time, that the first meeting I attended was in a dark room. We used candles that night. When this building, Dominion School in Jabi, that night, we were just about 4 or 5 of us. I remember there's one lady, she's out of the country anyway, Ellen. I remember, I can't remember this one, but anyway, Anima Cargo was there. So we're just about 5 in a dark room with candles. There was no light in that building that day. But my love for Toastmasters brought me back. Anyway, because I'd have wondered, what kind of club meeting in a dark room with candles? Are we a cult? But they were really nice people. Don't forget I said I found what I was looking for. So I needed to dig further to really know about this organization. But that was Unity Toastmasters in the making. And before long, the next meeting I had was in SHI office, and that was owned by Dr. Michael Motosho. And who would have thought? See, if you entered Toastmasters, that meeting, that period, and you saw someone like Dr. Mike, you want to stay. So Dr. Mike also was very instrumental to my staying, because I now found that, yeah, this is more serious than I thought. It was way beyond a dark room with a candle. There was so much about this. That first meeting was so organized, so organized. We had name tags. It was just organized. I loved it.
My first Toastmasters experience was in 2013. I think it was around the month of September. I was in search of a space where I could practice public speaking. And so I read about it, and I saw that there was a social club that people will gather, I beg your pardon, to practice public speaking. I searched and I found Unity Toastmasters in Jabi, and I paid a visit to the club sometime in September 2013. And when I arrived at the club, I met a very convivial atmosphere. The people were friendly. In fact, I was invited to speak. And my first table topic was actually to propose a toast to a woman who would later on become a long time, and if I dare say, a lifetime friend. At the time, she was simply known as Mrs. Titi Ejo. And my table topic question was, you have just been invited to propose a toast to this lady who will be leaving the club for a while. Can you say nice things about her? I remember that I joked that I had not met the lady before that day, but I mumbled a few words, and guess what? At the end, I was invited to receive an award as the best table topic speaker. Now that boosted my self-confidence, and it made me want to come back. And that's how I began this lifelong journey.
So the approach of Toastmasters to grooming great leaders is very experiential, because really you can't become something without building it through experience. And that is what I think, for me, that's the best approach to actually develop leaders and even great communicators. And that's how Toastmasters works. That's how Toastmasters has built its own foundation. That's the model, and that model can be replicated anywhere. You can imagine if you've held several positions in Toastmasters, from your club to the district, even to international, then you will be a great leader, trust me, because you'd have learned empathy, you'd have learned listening skills, you'd have learned administrative skills, you'd have learned critical thinking skills. All the skills that a leader would need, you'd have learned and applied on the job. And that's why I recommend that any leadership position in this country should be occupied by Toastmasters. There's something we bring to the table. It's rare, and it comes from experience.
There's a leadership gap right here in Nigeria, and one way for us to bridge that gap is to get more members of the society, more Nigerians, to register and become Toastmasters, to develop their leadership skills, their communication skills. It is important that Toastmasters goes into the society and preaches the gospel of leadership. That is what we sell. That is who we are. That is the very essence of our being. We need to help people understand that they can become more of who they want to be, and they can become better leaders, better communicators by essence of joining Toastmasters International.
The challenge around leadership is the quality of the followership. Why? Because leaders don't fall from the sky. They show up from amongst the people. So to raise the quality of leadership, then raise the quality of followership. That's where Toastmasters comes in. Toastmasters, it's concerned about helping individuals building leadership and communication skills. As human beings, we are tasked with the challenges of leading every day, to lead at home, to lead at work, in the community, in the country. And so, to make our environment the best that we're looking forward to, we need to invest in every individual growing leadership and communication skills. That's why I believe, and I know for sure, that every Nigerian citizen should be a member of Toastmasters, because Toastmasters is the place where leaders are made.
I think the future of Toastmasters in Nigeria has never been brighter. I say so because even as of today, there is still a debt of leadership. There's a vacuum that needs to be filled. And we need people who understand the difference between formal authority and moral authority. The moment people understand that as leaders we need to model the way, we need to stay true to our values and live those values, not merely paying lip service to them, I I think we would have set this country on the right path. And Toastmasters has what it takes to allow people practice the concept of moral authority, understanding what it means to have core values, to be driven by these core values, to live by these core values, and I dare say, to grow by these core values.
It is said that the best way to predict the future is by creating it. And when we now want to address the question of what the future holds for Toastmasters International in Nigeria, the answer is really in the hands of those of us who are Toastmasters now and who will be Toastmasters in the near future. We've done reasonably well since Toastmasters came to this part of the world. We now have, last time I counted, some 45 active clubs in Nigeria spread across the north and south of the nation. However, considering our GDP in this country, considering our massive population in this country, I can tell you that if we are ready to take the bull by the horns, the impact of Toastmasters in this country will progress in leaps and bounds beyond our imagination. And not only can we easily have a district in this country, I am confident that in not too long a time, we can have even more than one district in our beloved country.